Hello friends, SentinalhMC here, and welcome back to our ChromatiCraft tutorial series. So in this episode, we're going to take a look at a couple more abilities. We are going to be skipping a few from this section of the book because we haven't covered the other things that those relate to yet. But so we'll go through a few more, and I hope you enjoy it. So let's get going. So since we've gotten through all of the abilities over here in pylon casting, we're going to move on to the section called Endgame. Alright, which is why we have to skip a few. We're not going to be able to do anything with elemental sonar, because that has to do with the chromic dimension, which we haven't covered yet. And then I think also we're probably going to... Well, no, that's probably the only one we have to skip from this section, but we're not going to get through all of these today. We're only going to get through a couple. So first we have location warp. It says if you had an ingot for every time you found something of value, lacked the inventory space to carry it back, then never found it again, you'd have no idea how many, because if you did, you'd probably not have forgotten in the first place. It says if you could mark positions and warp to them at will, it would be of great value. Alright, so let's take a look. We're in creative mode, so of course we'll be able to use it regardless of the lumen that we have, but I can say it's probably going to be fairly expensive to use. There it is. So it brings up a list of warp locations. We can press plus and minus up here, I imagine, to add and remove. So we're going to click the plus button. Oh, there's a remove button down here. Oh, here we go. So I don't know what these two buttons do, but we've got warp locations and minimap waypoints, and then we've got add location. So I'll just go up here and I'll type the base, and we'll add a point. Ah, goodness. So I believe that we successfully added a point, so let's go back into it just to see. No, it doesn't look like we did. So we'll hit here, we'll click add point. There we go. So now we have a warp location. So we can click go to, and it'll just go to it. That was cool. See, okay, so now the base is here. So now if I hit go to, it'll just warp me back over here. Then we'll go over here. We'll go up on this mountain. Activate the thing. So we've also got minimap waypoints, but I wonder if this ties into a very specific minimap mod, because I've got waypoints on my map, but this isn't populated. We'll call this hill. Add it. Now we go back here, we've got base, we've got hill, so I can go to my base. And then I can use this. Now obviously you wouldn't really... Oh no, the hill's gone. You probably wouldn't use this just to warp this far. This is probably for, you know, warping long distances, although I imagine this will be fairly expensive to use. Well, now the hill is here. Well, that was weird. Let's see what we got going. There's the hill. Maybe it takes a moment to actually show up, but now we can go to the hill. And we can go to the base. There we are. And we can go back to the hill. Boop. So there we go. Location warp. I don't know how expensive this is to use in survival, but I imagine it's going to be fairly expensive. The preferred method, obviously, in ChromatiCraft for teleporting long distances locations is the transposition gate, which we will talk about when we get there. Sort of your standard permanent built constructed portal. This seems much more tuned towards setting up a temporary warp position. So I wouldn't recommend probably using this for all of your transportation needs. You're probably better served using transposition gates for that. But like the description says, if you find a treasure hoard and you can't carry it all back, set up a point using this ability so that you can get back to it later to clear it out and then remove it. is probably the way that you're meant to use this ability. And of course, if you use things the way they're meant to be used in Rayka's mods, things tend to go better for you. All right. Oh, let's see which. Before we move on, let's just see which Lumen Powers you're gonna need to use it. So you're gonna need Kuro, Zimbaru, Ikri, and a lot of Asvesti in order to use this. And getting the ability in the first place is very expensive. It costs 240,000 lumens. So I can't imagine that using this ability is very cheap. Alright, so next we have Attentive Listening. Now, this has to do with spawners and loot chests in the world, and it allows you to listen for them and hear them. So if we go over here, it's this one. Doesn't have any power levels. We just activate it, and now this is apparently going to allow us to find these things. Ah, here we go. What's that? Oh, cool. So I can see loot chests. Alright, so if I go ahead and turn this off, I can't see that anymore. Okay, cool. So Attentive Listening does more than just make a sound. It actually lets you see things like loot chests through the ground. That's awesome. So this ability is going to be very useful for finding Rayka's hidden underground burrows and things, because you can actually see the chests through the floor. That's awesome. Now you're going to need these 4 elements in order to see it. You're going to need Rizova, you're going to need Argia, you're going to need Nilla, and you're going to need Kuro. And this is probably a continuous drain ability, definitely, I would say. But yeah, we can see those over there from about this far away, which is pretty good. Being able to see them from that far away means you're probably going to have a good luck finding it. So this ability would pair well with the burrow detector. Remember that item that detects these things? But it doesn't just find ChromatiCraft ones. If you're exploring in cave systems, it'll find monster spawners, it'll find other loot chests, apparently. This might be useful in the Nether if you want to find specific things in Nether fortresses. Pretty cool. I like it. I got rid of my book again, accidentally. So let's get our creative lexicon back. We'll see how expensive this ability is. Attentive Listening costs 170,000 lumens to get. It mostly requires Nilla, so this pie chart probably holds true for using it as well. You're going to need a lot of Nilla to maintain this ability. This is definitely a kind of an ability that you turn on when you want to be attentive. You know, you could just have it on all the time, but it's probably better to turn it on when you're specifically looking for things. Like if you're going out looking for these. Alright, let's go ahead and turn it off. That's pretty sick. I like it. Okay, so let's continue. Our next ability is we're going to skip Elemental Sonar. We're going to go straight to Skystrike. Now, this one is very expensive. This is 1,440,000 lumens to get. So your ritual altar is going to have to charge for a really long time. You're going to need tons of Catrino. Half of it is Catrino, so you're going to need over 500,000 Catrino. Lots of Catrino, a little bit of Kuro, and then Nilla, and about a quarter of it is Rizova. So yeah, this is going to need lots of Catrino to get. And then once you've got it, it's probably going to be pretty expensive to use. Skystrike is pretty... it doesn't mess around. It's pretty powerful. So I want to go away from my crystal network area. I don't want to risk blowing any of that up. But we are going to potentially destroy this. We're going to destroy the landscape. This beautiful landscape. By demonstrating Skystrike. So, if we go through the list, there's Skystrike. It doesn't have charge levels. We just use it. And that happens. And as you can see, it makes a very sizable hole. It's also gonna kill anything that's around it. So big horde of monsters, use Skystrike. Look, it looks like a chicken got caught in our Skystrike. Here's a little piece of chicken. So if there's a huge horde of monsters, you can use Skystrike to kill them. However, you should only do that if you don't mind your landscape looking. Well, Rika describes it as looking like a moonscape. And if we look down in the hole, we can see we've got ingots here. So it's mined copper and smelted it into ingots, is what I'm getting from this. We've also got some more ingots over here of tin. I mean, you don't get ingots when you mine ore, so it would appear that Skystrike does auto smelting. At least that's what it looks like. And I don't know if it's dropped all of the drops or if it's destroyed some like TNT, but this is an awful lot of drops. So I'm tempted to say that you get all the drops, but I wouldn't probably use this for mining. The Skystrike. There's probably better ways to mine out resources than to strike terror from the heavens. If we look at the description of this ability, which is really awesome. Wait, no, gotta turn this to the other one. It talks about obnoxious mountain ranges, mazes of impenetrable stone. The best solution is probably the easiest. Just destroy the obstacles. So if there's a mountain in your way, just use Skystrike, obliterate the mountain, get rid of it so you can just walk through. It also kills everything in a large area, but its utility for that is limited unless you're living in a smoldering moonscape. Yep. Maybe it could be used to kill that abomination below the bedrock. The proper word is toast. Right, so apparently void monsters. You can use Skystrike to kill void monsters. Let's go ahead and I want to Skystrike this hole again. Does it actually destroy the bedrock? No. So you can see the void monster down there. We haven't, what level are we at? We're only at 29. So we're still a fair ways from the bedrock. But look at this. 2 Skystrikes and you've got an enormous hole in the ground. There's so many drops. So much ingots. We've even got some more tin, a different kind of tin. Yeah. This ability is no joke, and there's a reason it's so expensive. It's pretty cool. Fluid stone from ChromatiCraft. So if you ever wanted to bore a giant hole down to the bedrock layer, you could use a couple Skystrikes. Pretty crazy. Pretty cool. Gonna be really expensive to cast this, I would imagine. So that's why it's endgame, guys. The abilities in this section are very powerful, but it's endgame. So don't expect to get Skystrike early. But as you can see, it's pretty awesome. Alright, let's move on. So that's Skystrike. And the next one is pretty straightforward. It's called Item Preservation. It relates to regeneration in that it helps prevent death from being annoying. So essentially this allows you to retain your items on death. Pretty straightforward. I don't really need to demonstrate it, and if I die I'm going to have to annoyingly give myself the things back. We'll demonstrate this, I'm sure, at some point. But this pairs really well with regeneration. Of course, regeneration will prevent you from losing all of your lumen energy and prevent you from losing your rituals on death. Item preservation will prevent you from losing your items on death, which is really cool. So yeah, that's a great ability. So if you don't want to just turn lose items on death off with like we did in the Rakus Pack series, Dragon Realm, you could you could always use this ability. It's going to be just like regeneration. I'm sure it's going to be an ability that you have to toggle on, and then this ability needs to be on when you die, right? So just having it won't do you any good. If this ability isn't on when you die, it's not gonna work, because that seems to be how these things always end up working. So I mean, it makes sense, obviously. It's not that expensive compared to the other things we've looked at so far, 350,000 lumens to get it, but it requires quite a few lumen energies, Karma being the biggest, which is defense. Karma, Kiro, Rizova, Kirari, Argia, and Tahara. So you do need a lot of different ones, and this is definitely going to, it's going to drain some power while it's active. So make sure you have a good amount of energy. The last thing you would want is to run out of lumen energy and for this ability to toggle off right before you die, right? So having this on definitely will, especially if you've got some valuable and expensive items in your inventory and you're trying to get out of a dangerous place, this definitely going to be helpful. It specifically, in its description, specifically mentions zombies wearing your armor and stuff. So yeah, if you've got some expensive equipment, item preservation will definitely give you a peace of mind. Next we have Fertility Aura. Remembering devise ways to combat the corruption that infects your world. This is talking about Taint from Thaumcraft. What this does this Fertility Aura is that what it suggests is that it allows you to passively sort of regenerate area. Yeah, so look at that. So we can kind of get a little bit of a demonstration just right there. Stuff is growing all around me. Flowers and grass. And more grass. And just filling out the landscape, see? See all this? It's bone mealing the ground around me. Is what it's acting like, continuously. Obviously, this is a and see it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't seem to update until a block update happens, but now other times it just grows constantly. I'm not sure. That's probably just an issue with my my setup at the moment. See, so it's like bone mealing the area around me. Oh, it actually is changing the biome around this obelisk. The grass is changing color, so it appears to be removing the eerie biome and replacing it with plains. Yeah, see, look. If you look under my mini-map, we used to be eerie around here, but the eeriness is gone. Do we transform desert into plains as well? No, apparently not. So it's not going to terraform the desert into a grassland, but it removed the eerie biome from around this eldritch obelisk and turned it into plains. So as you can see, it's designed to work with Thaumcraft. So if you've got a large tainted area, a tainted biome, which I don't know that we have any, I haven't found one, you can use Fertility Aura to transform it back into a nice lush paradise. Obviously this ability is powerful, and so it's going to have a large energy requirement. It's definitely gonna, I would imagine that it drains continuously. It either drains continuously or it drains whenever it causes things to grow, but it seems to do that constantly, so I would imagine. I'm not sure how it breaks down the cost, whether, to me, changing a biome, terraforming a biome, seems like it would be more expensive than causing grass to grow, but I don't know that for sure, so I'm not going to speculate. I'm sure Reiki will tell us in the comments. But Fertility Aura, definitely a powerful ability. And since it's able to actually change biomes, you're definitely going to want to be careful with it. You might want that eerie biome over there or something like that. So definitely be careful where you engage it in case you don't want to change a biome. But yeah, it's definitely powerful. So we'll take a look at how much it costs. Only has 750,000 lumens, so not quite a million. So definitely not as expensive as Skystrike, but definitely the most expensive one that we looked at other than Skystrike. Uses Curari, this is Ikri, Kuro, Karmir, and how come I can't remember that one now? Kijani. So yeah, definitely makes sense, these elements, and so yeah, you're gonna need all of these. Definitely a cool one. If you're using a lot of Thaumcraft, you're probably going to get tainted areas. So this is definitely an option for you to clean those tainted areas up. I'm going to turn it off now. Boop. There goes the particles. I like the particles as well. You definitely know that it's active. Alright, so the next one we've got, Piercing Vision. So Piercing Vision talks about mob radars and how they're good until its warning of a creeper is useless because it's hidden in past the trees. If being able to see and shoot the mobs through solid surfaces would be far better. So this sounds really cool. So Piercing Vision costs 730,000 lumens to get from your altar. It's mostly as Vesti, but it's also Kuro, some Baro, some Nilla, and some Argia. Now if we go ahead and turn this on, where are you? There you are. So we turned it on. Now we can see chickens through the ground. So we know there's chickens here, but if we look over there, we can see a chicken through the ground. And now once we can actually see him, the box around him turns green. Right now the box is red. He's through the wall. Can I actually shoot him? Not with arrows. Maybe with ChromatiCraft items. I don't know. I can't shoot him with the gravel gun. Need line of sight. But if we look down here, we can see all these bits flying around. All these bats. So it allows you to see mobs through the ground. It also says shoot through obstacles. So I'm imagining certain weapons probably will allow us to do that. Let's go ahead and grab a ChromatiCraft weapon, and we'll see if we can shoot through this. Like, I don't know. Well, wait a second. Doesn't the discharge gun shoot through solid surfaces anyway? So that would be a good pairing. Yeah, see, we're not going to use this thing. But doesn't the discharge gun shoot through the ground anyway? I'm pretty sure it does. There's a chicken over there. Oh, it didn't hit him. What's going on? I don't know. Looks like it was blocked by the grass. Oh well. At any rate, it lets you see the mobs through the ground. It's kind of neat that you can do that. So I can see the pig. It's not just the bounding box. There was a previous ability that no, it's an item. It's the sonar item that caused bounding boxes to briefly appear. This actually lets you see the mob's model through the ground, which is very neat. So anyway, I think that's going to do it for this episode. The next episode, okay, so here's what we might do. We might take a break from abilities, and then build a lumen tree, cover that so that we can cover the other ability, but we'll see. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. I've been sick this last week, in case you were wondering why there wasn't a video up last Friday. I scheduled it, but it didn't come out, and I'm still not feeling 100%, so I hope this video doesn't come off as rushed or anything. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm SentinalhMC, and I'm signing out.